I remember I just came back from Egypt and I was inside the Serapeum, which I believe is one of Enki's halls of M.I.T, the rejuvenation chambers. Those things didn't have bulls in them. They never found a bull in any of them.
Right.
That's bull crap.
Right.
But they're so clean on the inside, and the inside of those boxes, those magnificent, 100-ton granite boxes is polished.
Right.
Smooth as glass.
Right.
Perfectly 90-degree angles. I was using our, the phone. You can do the level. The level was perfect everywhere you looked. And so to do this type of work, this fine work, and even that megalithic work, it takes a very special skill and a very special understanding of stonework and a special type of advanced tool, along with some type of computer. You need something guiding it. It's not done by hand. Nobody's sitting there with their hand doing this.
Can't do that with copper chisels.
No chicken bones and copper chisels.
No.
This is real advanced technology that we still can't duplicate today, which is pretty incredible. Yeah, that's mind-boggling.
Yeah, so one of the things Chris Dunn was pointing out about these vases and about those boxes in the Serapeum is he was like comparing it to because he's a former aerospace engineer himself. Yeah. He was comparing what he was saying is you don't need perfection unless there's a function.
Yes.
Right? You don't need to make something that precise unless it serves a purpose.
Right.
So that's what the whole thing is like. What was the purpose of these boxes, or what was the purpose of these vases? Why were they that perfect just because it was easy?
Right.
Like, is it easy for them to make stuff with that perfection that out of that kind of stone, or was it very, very important that it had to be that perfect to achieve a certain function?
There's a couple of options. One, and it could be a combination of three. One is philosophical. When I went to Cambodia, not this time, but the time before, I was fortunate enough to talk to some monks, and the monk was talking to me and showing me these young monks that he had, like they were kids. I didn't even know they started as kids. And they were cleaning and sweeping, and I was like, man, the floor's already clean. The garbage is already, you got them cleaning it again? I was just joking with me. He says, no, we have to do everything to perfection. Even if it's taking out the trash or sweeping the floor, it must be done to perfection. Has some advanced race advanced to the point of philosophical concepts that everything must be perfected. If you think about living your life doing everything to a level of perfection, how much more improved we would all be if that was our main focus, perfecting everything. Now, not becoming OCD, but actually working and focusing on whatever task that we're doing it at our best and highest level, right? And so that could be one thing. The other thing is that the technology, whether it's some type of a nano tool or whatever they had, it made it so easy for them. So it could be a combination of that because of their drive for perfection philosophically, that they created a technology that creates this level of perfection so that they now eliminate one process of overthinking. We have the tech that can make it just like it's supposed to be. And the third is the function. All of these crystal, granite, and diorite crystal boxes and vases, they all have a certain level of higher background radiation coming out of them. So if you take a Geiger counter to these things, you'll find they're still emitting radiation. If you go with a Geiger counter to those Serapeum boxes, you'll see radiation levels way higher than background. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And so when I was there the last time, I took people on a private visit into a sealed door. We couldn't get in the door because the director of the site forgot that we were coming that day. So he called our guide and gave the approval for us to smash the lock. So we smashed the lock. He said, as long as you buy another one. So I said, we'll buy another one. We went into the room, the biggest box you've ever seen, 3 times bigger than any box in the regular Serapeum, and it's got a radioactive sticker on it, letting you know it's radioactive. Whoa. So all these things, the function is energy. These things are transmitting a specific type of energy, radioactive energy, but also some type of other exotic energy, I believe, is combined. And there's one other thing to this. They're all mostly crystal. 40 to 60% is crystal. Now, crystals are sentient living beings in my personal research. They can replicate, they can communicate, they can send and receive information. They're alive. They can grow on their own. They can duplicate. So I believe that another thing that they did was they used stone that had crystal because in their perception, they were creating living machines. Okay, so the statues, they were alive. These vases, they're alive. Those boxes, they're all alive because they're loaded with so many tons of crystal.
What is it? Is it quartz crystal or
quartz crystal?
Quartz.
Yeah.
What do you think the purpose of those boxes were?
Oh, halls of M.I.T. So if you read the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, my first book, Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, I break it all the way down.
Okay.
He had these boxes in these underground halls that were discovered underneath the Great Pyramid, exactly where he says they were in his tablets. And in these halls, and it was just one of the locations. They had them all over the earth. They would actually create their own bodies. They said we fashioned our own bodies. So they would they either take a stem cell and turn it into a clone of themselves, but they didn't take other bodies. They said they made their own. And then they would put a body in a rejuvenation chamber, which is the box. And then they would transfer their consciousness from the body that's been used up into the newer body. And they said that we would walk amongst men, but unlike a man. And so they would be here walking around, and you wouldn't even know that they just been transferring their mind from body to body. And each one of those boxes had bodies in them, and the body would sit there for 100 years, and they would walk amongst men in the body for 100. And Thoth says he did it 100 times 10. So if you take 100 times 10 plus the 100 years of each body sitting in the box, you're talking 100,000 years potentially. So you're talking about beings that achieve the level of immortality, not because of their gods, but because of they had advanced technology that allowed them to transfer their consciousness into another body.
Wow.
It calls the halls of M.I.T. In the Serapeum, I believe, is one of the halls of M.I.T., but that one belongs to Enki, Thoth's father.
That is bizarre. Chris, I was trying to get it out of Chris when he was here. I'm like, what were he's like, I have an idea what the boxes were for. I'm like, what? He's like, I don't know if I want to say it. He was talking about growing crystals and using crystals.